Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Three Warlocks podcast, episode 37. Yes, another episode, another week, and this one is full of a lot of information. This TWAB is probably one of the bigger TWABs we have received in a long time. Just to give you an update of the things we're going to be talking about, there's some Solstice of Heroes news. There's also some Sandbox changes that are going to be coming earlier than expected, things that were slated for season 15. We're going to be getting a little preview of that. Like the usual stuff we talk about, known issues, and also Snail is going to be kind of bringing a conclusion to the story that he's been bringing to us each and every week, but he doesn't sound like he's very excited about how the end of the conclusion of the story was. So we're definitely going to be checking with him. But like always, guys, this is the Three Warlocks podcast, and I have with me Snail and Ness, my other two Warlocks. So how are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Doing
good.
All right, I know Snail's not feeling very good right now.
It's been a week.
It's been a week. I know, it's been a week for everybody.
Oh, man.
Well, Ness, I have a story to tell you. Snail is going to be called a spider. He's no longer the Snail. I think he is known as a spider. Earlier today, before we got on, we were doing a Grandmaster Nightfall, which this week is a pretty doable one. It's if you have the right strat, it's a fairly easy one to do.
Okay.
Well, we're in the middle of the fight, and I notice behind me I have a really nice headset. I told Snail my Xbox is garbage. I have the first Xbox ever known. You have to crank it to get it going. Anyway, I got that stuff going, and then right behind me, I see Snail, and he is shooting his anarchies, right? So I hear just the sounds of the anarchies being shot. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I freak out. I get scared. So I turned around. Sure enough, he is building a spider web on this door. So when the enemies come out, they all die.
Away.
Yeah, they all die. So I was genuinely in awe because I saw the web that he built, and I was like, man, this is genuinely really amazing. And Snail started laughing. Then I started laughing. Then Rob, for some reason, lost his mind. He was like, can you guys be serious for a second? Can you guys stop messing around? Sure enough, Snail dies because we're laughing hysterically. And then at one point I get him up, get out of the way, and then he's trying to survive because he's still continuing laughing. He dies again, and I'm looking for him to revive him, and he's on top of the ceiling. I don't know how the heck he's on top of a pillar. It was, and you know what? And the whole time I kept telling him, Snail, you're no longer a Snail. You're the spider. And I don't know, that was from my perspective. Snail, what was from your perspective?
The bit that Vega missed was as I was making my spider web, I was firing a shot, pausing, studying my spider web, taking another shot, trying to make the exact pattern I needed before it started. to my side, I'm thinking, why is he staring at me? What have I done wrong? And the enemies come out.
I'm staring at all, amazed by the craftsmanship this man's making. And Rob is shooting everything at the enemies, throwing nades, trying to survive. And we and Snail are staring at this beautifully made spider web. We're like, man, that's pretty good. Wow. And every single enemy that came out of there, they all died. And I was like, oh my God, this worked. But then the Overload champions came out, and they must have been pretty upset now because I believe we got 9 extra champions for some reason in that Grandmaster.
Yeah, those barrier champions all of a sudden. I was like, where'd they come from?
Oh, well,
so you were creating Charlotte's Web, basically.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
so I think the first run took us 25 minutes, and the second one took us an extra 10 minutes because we were making a spider's web.
We were just laughing, and like I said, it's a very doable.
He was very happy.
Very doable Grandmaster this week. If you have, we all use 3 Warlocks. Ironically, we use 3 Warlocks with stasis and the little turret that shoots ice and blinding grenades. Steve. What the correct name?
The correct other things.
What's the correct name for it, so our listeners know what we're talking about now?
Breacher.
It's Bleak Watcher.
Bleak Watcher. Yeah. Thank you.
But it was called Gary, Andrew, Steve,
Kevin.
Steve.
I think I called him Kevin at one point.
Kevin. Kevin's.
Oh man. But yeah, like I said, it was a fun Grandmaster. It's very doable if you guys want to try it. I believe you get the Hung Jury. That's the weapon this week. It's the adept version.
Yeah. It'd be nice if you got something from it.
Yeah, so did 2 of them. Nothing for him. But you know what? The week is still young, Snail. A lot of stuff
Yeah.
going on this week. Iron Banner's going on this week for all those who want to get those
Sweet.
pinnacle rewards. And then we're going to be talking about what's going on next week, guys. We're going to break down the TWAB. How does that sound for you guys? Sound right? All right.
Let's do it.
Yes, the TWAB begins with this. We are preparing for the Solstice of Heroes this week. Now, Solstice of Heroes, if you guys are new, this is something that Bungie does. It's almost like a summer event, okay? So consists of working in a fire team of 3 to do various things with the guidance of Ada, who comes to the tower and gives us bounties. But we go to this little zone. It's up in the island, little flowing island. It's called the European Area Zone. If you guys are kind of new to Destiny, this area is just specifically created for this seasonal event. What you do is you have to destroy a lot of mini bosses, and the more bosses you destroy, the more chances you get to kind of discover this caches. You unlock this caches and get rewards from them. Some of the rewards you're able to get is you're able to upgrade your armor. Okay, when you upgrade your armor, it starts off, I believe it's like a common. You're able to make it legendary, and then you're able to make it master. And just to give you an example, if you have a helmet, some of the things that we did last season is you were able to get a common helmet, and then it requires you to do, say, 3 strikes, kill so many enemies, do so many bounties. Then all of a sudden that helmet will upgrade to a legendary helmet. That legendary helmet had certain requirements you had to do to make it into master, so forth and so forth with the other armor pieces. This season has a new weapon on the seasonal event. It's called the Refraction, which is a bit ironic because shotguns are going to be getting looked at, and we're going to be talking about that later on the show. But this is an example of the weapon. It's pretty nice, has a symbol of the Solstice of Heroes. If you do get all your armor pieces, if you're able to get the final Solstice armor pieces unlocked, you're qualified through the Bungie store. You get this shirt right here. If you guys are looking, it's pretty nice. Something similar that we had, last season as well. Other than that, lots of rewards, cool little ships in here, and these is kind of like the glows you can get on those armors. So when we have those armors and they go from common to legendary to master, the difference between all of those is the master ones is you're able to put these amazing glows on them depending on the class you like to use, Arc, Void, Solar. One of the ones that's missing here, which Snail and I kind of made a comment on it, is the stasis one. Yeah. And I believe stasis might be tied because they do mention that you can get these other additional glows in the store, through tests. So cosmetic stuff that she may have in there. So that's pretty much a little rundown, kind of an example of what the Solstice of Heroes is going to be this season. It's going to be an additional way for you to get pinnacle gear as well, because the ultimate goal is to get as high level as possible, because there's going to be something that's going to be dropping as well. And that's something that Snail's going to be telling us a little bit about. And it's something that we need to get prepared for. I believe you have to be 1350. Snail, you want to take it away?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they invested all their time into this rather than Solstice of Heroes, because Solstice of Heroes is an exact copy of last season. Not that I'm moaning about anything. But yes, Fate Breakers. So we've got the addition of a Master Raid at last. It's taken some time to come along, but we've got one. So this is aspirational content. Usually end-game content stops at a normal raid. And we haven't had a prestige raid for a while. That's right. That went sunset. But now we've got a new raid, raid challenges coming on the 6th. You've got the Vault of Glass Master difficulty available to all players. There's no light level limit to go in, although there is a light level to the enemies in it. So the enemies in it are 1350. So get yourself as high as possible, because it's going to hit like a truck, especially if you're low light. So well worth using those pinnacles this week with Iron Banner and doing your nightfalls, because you're going to need that power level. So obviously you can get to 1320 with the pinnacles, and then it will be bounties to get your artifact up to 1350 and beyond.
That's correct.
I think we're currently both around 1340. I think it's 1341, aren't you?
Yeah.
So it's going to be loads of bounties to get to the 1350 mark. But if we ran the one at the beginning of the season that was 20 levels below us anyway, it's like running a nightfall. So I guess we'll be all right at 1340. It'll just be slightly tougher. I did read something about there was extra champions in it, but I haven't seen that anywhere else. So we'll see. There is brilliant stuff behind it. So it's not just a case of it's a harder version. This does unlock the final triumph to get the seal. So you will get that as well. But we're introducing some time loss weapons to Destiny. So the time loss weapons are similar to the adept weapons, and it has been confirmed on Twitter by DMG that they can take the adept mods.
Okay.
But they also have additional slots for additional types of weapon damage. You could have rampage and something else, and so there's additional slots for you there. Plus, we're getting high stat armor rolls dropping from it, which are tied to each week. So a different week, you'll have a different type of armor drop you can get. The annoying thing is we've locked the rewards to only 3 per character if you do the easy or the master, which seems very bizarre. So choose wisely which raid you're going to do that week, because you miss out on doing the master if you do the easy first, because you won't get the time loss weapons. The interesting thing, which means that you really want to go in and farm those spoils, is once you get your time loss weapon, at the end you can keep buying time loss weapons to get the role you wanted. And because there's multiple slots in them, it's going to be easier to get that god roll version. So similar to how we had the pinnacle, the weapons we had for seasonal ones before with the 4 slots on, you can interchange. It's going to be like that for these time loss weapons. So if we can just keep farming them at the end, you're going to get a god roll easy, I would have thought. Well worth doing. And going into, I think the first one they talk about is going to get the helmet as the first piece of armor.
Do we know how many
intellect stat?
Do we know how many spoils are going to be worth? Still, by any chance? We don't know that.
It was double the amount of a normal weapon. So a normal weapon, I think, is 40. I think it's 80, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
It doesn't say on here.
Yeah, it doesn't say. I was kind of curious about that too. So
yeah, I read it somewhere that it was double. So I think a normal's 40, so it'll be 80.
That's going to be a lot of spoil farming you got to be doing. But
but I would get your teams together, get them up to a decent level. Otherwise, it's going to be tough, I think.
I think the only thing that's very annoying is like you said, you have to choose the raid you want to do for that week. You know, if you want to do a normal one, you get your rewards on that character, and if you want to do a hard one on that character, you're not going to get anything on those time loss weapons for doing any hard, hard content. Doesn't even say either if you get an additional, maybe better chance of getting the Vex if you do the harder raid. It doesn't say nothing at all, so I'm kind of curious.
No, it is very sparse with information.
Yeah, for it being 1 week away or about 4 days away, it's kind of very low information. They kind of want to surprise us. They typically do that. So yeah, like Snail was saying, this is not going to be a walk in the park. You know, if you're not familiar with the end game that Destiny has, you know, enemies are going to be tougher, more aggression. Snail said it's going to be more champions. So you have to increase your power as much as you can. Various opportunities to do so right now going on with Iron Banner. You get an additional 4 pinnacles. Also the things that Eva is going to be coming around next week. So she's going to be having some opportunities for some pinnacles there as well. There's also things to look forward to because we're going to be having a mid-season Sandbox update with that. So a lot of stuff is going to be happening on next week's reset. So during the Destiny 2 Sandbox, you know, we noticed there's a couple things that they have been kind of ruling the PvP world. You know, the aggressive hand cannons, you know, the shotguns, things that we have benefited from too as well. We have to be thankful for is the rockets have been almost like a game changer on PvE. And also, you know, Dead Man's Tale. What can we say about that gun? It's really viable for everything. It's pretty good. But the last few months, the team has been working on the Bungie team has been working on kind of preparing this mid-seasonal Sandbox changes. So Chris Proctor, which we've met him before, he's the one that's lead of the team, and he lays down all the information and all the changes are going to be going to be going. So this is the stuff that he brings out. So I'm going to give you guys an idea. So they want to set some expectations. Okay. So they don't like making these large changes. And then also when they do, they make these large changes. They get this handful of weapons that they notice they suck the air out of the room. So they decided to change that up in season 15. So next week's update, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be moving these changes and kind of tuning some weapons that we are kind of familiar with, that we use a lot. Some of these weapons are viable for PvP. We talked about the shotguns. We talked about the 120 RPM aggressive hand cannons, and then also Dead Man's Tail. Those are the ones that are really taking over the PvP scene, and it looks like they're going to be addressing those concerns there. And they're also going to be touching one of my favorite weapons, which I'm really excited. They're going to be looking at the sleeper simulant. So we're going to be talking about that today. So there's going to be some intended special weapon roles in PvP. So we're going to have Ness going to talk about that for us.
Yeah, so Bungie's realized that there are special weapons that are being used in PvP that are being used in not the intended way. So as they put it, moving forward, they're going to create some roles for these weapons. So they actually are used in the proper way, in the proper location that they want to use them. So once again, we're gonna play Bungie's game. So this is basically what they're putting out there. Sniper rifles, if you're engaging in long range and you're not under fire, your aiming skill will be better. Shotguns, engaging at point blank and using a skill of movement, you'll get either close enough to get 1 or 2 hit elimination. Fusions have to be used at mid-range with careful positioning and pre-charging for success. Trace rifles, strong at close to mid-range at the cost of being not being a one-hit elimination, making it possible for someone who's a primary, skillful primary user to actually outplay you. And then grenade launchers. They're going to be useful for weakening people around corners. And they're going to be a one-hit elimination for direct hits. But of course, that's going to be a cost of the projectile travel time and being, of course, in the bad place when you actually miss and end up killing yourself. So those are the roles or intended ways that these weapons are going to be used in PvP from here on out. Their idea is that they should only be dominant in certain situations. And if you're not in those situations, you should be at a disadvantage. So they want to make sure that that happens. Thanks.
That is true. Perfect example is I do not want to unload an entire auto rifle clip on somebody who is zigzagging and then slide shotguns into my face. That doesn't seem fair when I put on the time of starting to shoot him before he saw me and
in the face,
throwing everything at him. But for some reason, he seems to ziggity zag, jump and slide and then kill me.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be some balance to that.
Yeah.
And what does he kill me with? Well, he kills me with a shotgun. That's pretty much the weapon that has been dominant in PvP. Thank you, Ness. The weapon that has been taking the primary role, mostly in PvP, has been the shotgun. I believe Snell, one of these weeks, brought out a stat that said how many kills was used by a specific weapon. I'm going to say maybe 3 months ago on trials.
Yeah.
And I believe it was day and night when it came from a primary weapon to a special weapon. It was a shotgun. It was Felwinter's Lie, and it had so many kills that 1 week alone. So
the trials only sees shotguns and hand cannons.
Yes,
in the main,
because those are the ones that are more viable, the lowest TTK, I guess, time to kill. But Bungie's team is investigating this, and they're already trying to come up with a solution here. So they have taken the feedback. So their intent for special weapons is they're going to be changing a few things around. So they want to put the fast firing shotguns and the aggressive shotguns kind of in the same pool, I guess, together, working at the same thing, kind of even them out. So these are the things that they're going to be changing. Okay, so they're going to, I guess, increase the aggressive frame of a shotgun cone angle from 4.0 to 4.25 degrees, reduce shotgun damage fall off by a minimum of 2 meters, increase shotgun damage fall off max by 2 meters. And then note, this is very important, that the slug shotguns are not affected by this change. So not only are they going to be making certain shotguns, I guess, fair, looks like to me that the chaperone is going to be back in the menu, and
Yes,
that's going
That's a
to,
concern because
exactly what it
chaperone
said.
can map you across a map.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a little sniper.
exactly. Yeah.
So you know what? This is very interesting because when I read this, is that Bungie is, I think this is like a fair thing, and let me explain why. Bungie is making it so the player who works on his craft, i.e., the guy who works on the chaperone, who's mastered the chaperone, is going to be able to use that gun and not be concerned with the changes going on. Those people who are just shotgun apes who know they can just slide and shoot somebody, those are the ones that are going to be affected. So you are going to see shotgun use go down. I do believe that because there's other weapons that are being brought up, other weapons are being more used. We talked about the grenade launchers being a part of PvP recently. Snipers may get a tuning. Looks like scout rifles, auto rifles, hand cannons, the 140s are going to be coming back, aggressive ones. So this is going to be a welcome change of not seeing those annoying shotguns. I mean, the chaperone, it is what it is. If you are close to a person, chances are you're going to get killed. If you play far away, that chaperone still has to come at you. But it looks like to me weapons are going to be a little bit more balanced. And they are using this mid-season, which I'm guessing this mid-season update as like a trial, like a test before they make the real changes during season 15. And one of the things they're going to be talking about is the 120 RPM hand cannons. They do have a long range, even though they were kind of nerfed back a little bit early in the season. They do have that range still there. They're still very sticky. So their goal is to bring them down a little bit. So it looks like they're going to be fair and balanced. Just by reading all these things, it looks like 140 hand cannons are going to be kind of up there. Once again, we are nerfing shotguns, nerfing hand cannons, and the thing that's going to come out of this is going to be a shotgun and a hand cannon.
Hand cannon.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. So
Yeah.
let me give you the rundown of what's going to happen with the 120s. They're going to reduce the precision damage multiplier from 1.8 to 1.6. So they're going to be preventing that 10% damage bonus. So you're no longer going to be able to get 2-tap, which there's be times where we get 2-tap and we're like, what? How did that happen? Because of the damage bonus, like say Rampage, Kill Clip, things like that. You're able to get 2-tapped. Reduce aim assist, minimum fallout distance between 1 to 2 meters, depending on the range stat. So if you have rangefinder, 1 meter. If you have something else, it'll drop 2 meters. Reduce damage minimum fallout distance by 1 meter. So this is what this means is this reduces their damage fallout advantage over other hand cannons to 1 meter. As usual, this is a 1 meter before the zoom scalar. It's kind of weird, but it looks like they are going to be bringing the 120s down a peg a little bit. So you are not going to be seeing as many 120s out there. You're not going to be getting 2-tap as more often as you did. Now it's going to be somewhat balanced in the way that they want to see the sandbox go. If they notice it's going one way or another, they are going to make some changes. So that's what their goal is, and that's what they're going to be talking about. There's also going to be some changes to some perks, and those are very interesting. Ness, you want to talk about those?
Well, they mention as changes, but really there's one change, and the rest are really kind of fixes. So drop mag is no longer going to be a drop for weapons for any new weapons you acquire, and they're actually going to be changing it in the next season. So they said a little bit more information later on. Pulse monitor, they actually fixed it. The handling bonus wasn't working.
I know.
Rewound rides, the rewind round. I don't know why I said rewound rides, but anyway, rewound. It just can't say it. Okay, those rounds. We'll call them the blockbuster rounds. Apparently, they weren't triggering on the last round, especially if you reloaded a weapon and then shot your last round. And then reservoir burst. They were noticing from complaints that it wasn't as impactful. So now they're going to make it the same consistency and speed of Dragonfly. So those are really more fixes than actual changes to the perks.
Yeah, it's a good point when you bring it about the reservoir burst. Do you guys remember whenever you used to get we were just talking about this gun earlier in the Nightfall, the Graviton Lance? Whenever you got a kill on somebody, you used to kill that guy and you used to make that explosion and kill everything.
Yeah.
But before they did that, whenever you kill that character or that bad guy, it'll fly 30, 40 feet away. And by the time he exploded, nobody was there. And I think this is the problem that's happening with the reservoir burst, is that when you shoot somebody, they get that kickback from the fusion so far back that when they blow up, no one's there to take that blast and just create that chain reaction. They had the same problem with the graviton lance, and they were able to fix it. So it looks like they're going to be taking a look at that perk. So hopefully it works.
Interestingly, I used loaded question when I was doing fusion kills for someone's character, because I didn't have access to go and get some weapons. So I just bought it from the vault, and it was not doing reservoir burst damage like it used to. So that must have been the issue. It wasn't killing anything. Wasn't one tapping like it used to. It was like, I've just taken his shield off and that's it.
You was just pushing him back. That's what you're doing. It's like a gradual push, and then by the time you were able to get that burst to proc, that character was so far away that the explosion was nothing. It just looked like nothing. So the team's on it. Team's looking at it. There's going to be some exotic tunings, and I wish I had a trumpet so I can play that sad song when someone dies. Like, I think I can say rest in peace, certain weapons. Snail, go ahead.
Yeah, so we can blame PC, I think, for Dead Man's Tale. So Dead Man's Tale has been dominant on mouse and keyboard.
Yes.
We're not on mouse and keyboard, we're on a controller. But it does say it's not going to affect controllers too much. But
we'll see.
So mouse and keyboard, hipfire has been out of this world. You're sniping people across a map, because the aim assist has been amazing and fantastic weapon. So we're going to change it because it's dominating. I don't see it as dominating on control, on using control, especially on Xbox.
Correct.
I see more hand cannons than I do anything else. Dead Man's Tale I don't see a lot. But it is all over PC. It's a running meme on PC that if you want to get your kills, put Dead Man's Tale on. So removing the hipfire damage fall off was 1.8 to match the zoom. Aim assist cone angle scalar reduced from 1.5 to 1.2 means nothing to me. Gonna kill something still, aren't you?
Still gonna work.
Not gonna affect controller.
Still gonna work.
Still gonna work. But interestingly, so we've buffed linear fusion rifles this season. One of those weapons did not get its buff as intended. We're finally going to see the buff on Sleeper Sim, which is brilliant. So with this season and this nice update, we're going to get the fix we wanted. So we're going to see a benefit of a total buff of 16.5% compared to the 15% buff the other linear fusion rifles received. So when there was some testing at the beginning of the season, the legendary linear fusion rifles were doing more damage than Sleeper Sim by a long way. So if that was with a 15% buff and they're going to get a 16% buff now on this, that's going to absolutely smash the other ones, isn't it? So it's worth having a look at that weapon as soon as it gets buffed next week, see what damage you can do. Although I don't know many circumstances I'd use a linear fusion rifle in at the moment, because Anarchy takes over everything.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about Anarchy, and they were talking up a lot of linear fusion rifles, the threaded needle, some of the ones that had Vorpal weapon, but you don't really see the damage at all.
No,
it seems like nothing happened. Like their increase of 15%, it looks like it almost went up 5%, 6%. Like you don't really see.
But there's no encounter I can think of where linear fusion was better than anything else.
Yeah.
Most encounters we've been doing, bosses in raids or in gems, we just were. Anarchy is king, or a rocket, or another grenade launcher.
A sword.
There's nothing else. Or a sword, yeah. There's no. Why would you use linear fusion rifle?
Sleeper was a thing back in the day. Like that was the go-to weapon. I remember when we first went into Gambit, when Gambit first came around, you would get killed by a sleeper simulant if you were an invader. Like that was standard. And then it got nerfed, and then it became bows basically. But yeah, that it used to be a really good weapon, and then they nerfed it and everybody stopped using it.
Yeah.
So
do you think it's the magazine size that's the issue?
Probably.
Do you think
I think all the magazines.
Anarchy's got 26 shots.
Yeah.
Sleeper has not got that. It's got 14.
Yes.
With the
it's much smaller, yeah. Even with the catalyst, it gives you that faster rate, but the magazine size doesn't increase as much. I mean, in one damage phase, you probably unloaded. and be
Yeah.
done with it, and you have to be hunting around just to get ammo to go to the next one. Whereas Anarchy, you can have 30 rounds in that thing, 26.
Mhm.
I mean, you can have a lot if you put
Well,
on certain perks.
with Anarchy, you can have an even spread too with Sleeper Simulant. Like I had an issue as far as just aiming down, because people move all the time, but this is just a little laser, so it's harder to actually control when you're
I
firing.
think if people walk away most shots.
Yeah.
The amount of issues we have with ads and bosses teleporting left and right and jumping out of the way. I think the one we've just been doing, at the end of that boss is constantly moving. You're in a real difficult situation to stand still, pre-fire, and then hit him. He'd have gone or got you with that purple stuff.
Yeah. So you really have to commit when you're going to use a sleeper. You have to sit there and be patient, use your shot. And like Snail said, how the hell are you going to use that in an inside terminus when that guy is running around left and right and he's not standing still? Which, I mean, I do like that boss, by the way. He's one of the most mobile bosses that you definitely have to work to get him. So I do commend Bungie for doing a strike like that. It used to be a PlayStation exclusive, I guess, back in the day. So Xbox, we just got it before the Beyond Light dropped, or a little bit before it. I think it was called the Moon one. Yeah, we got around the Moon time. But yeah, those are something we're going to be taking a look at, like Snail says, because that's going to be a gun that could be a little viable for some damage, especially with that 16.5 increase. Well, there's going to be other weapons that are going to be getting a look at too as well in the near future. And Ness has a list of all those for us.
So we're looking at weapons that they're talking about changing in season 15. So fusion rifles, they don't really elaborate, but they're going to do a large rework to include custom tuning exotics. So all of you lucky fools that got the Vex Mythoclass, that means you too. Breach grenade launchers, changes is mostly to prevent them from when you just can't read your handwriting. Okay, they're gonna have changes. Hold one. We're gonna move to the next one. So scout rifles, hand cannons, and machine guns are going to actually get a couple of changes, mostly for PvE, because they've noticed that they're not being as used, and they're not doing the damage that they are intended to do. One of the things that we mentioned earlier, well, they mentioned earlier, is special ammo. So with the change of the special weapons, they're also going to be limiting the special ammo, because they realize the drop rate of the special ammo in PvP is actually kind of the cause of why the special weapons are being used as much. And then Anarchy, guys. Anarchy.
Yep.
It's about time, really.
No, you shut your mouth. We've had times, me and my Anarchy. Like,
I'm
anyway.
surprised they've not done anything earlier.
I'm surprised too, to be honest with you.
They've been saying about this season's, they put the mod on this season.
But
so no wonder it's the only thing to go to.
But you're right, Sam, and you're right, Ness. This is actually a very good question. But do you think that the Anarchy deserves this kind of deserves to have like a debuff or a nerf? Do you guys think that Anarchy deserves that?
Okay, I knew it was coming, but I don't think so, because this is not a weapon that is, I mean, this is a crowd control kind of weapon, but it's, you have to work at it. Like, you can't just zing it everywhere. It's not like Xeno. Like, I feel like Xeno, of all weapons, like that one's hard hitting. It doesn't have the, the mag size, but it's still a hard hitting weapon. I don't see that with Anarchy. You have to actually have more of a strategy with Anarchy. I don't know.
What about you, Sam?
It's the only heavy slot weapon that I've used for the past 2 seasons. Apart from I've used a sword for that one raid. Because it is the only thing that does, a jack of all trades, doesn't it? You can get boss damage and then swap to a shotgun and do damage with another
crowd control,
another
like Ness said too.
Yeah. But I think the bomb is it's been positioned like that by the fact that the other heavy slot weapons haven't been good enough. We use swords loads and they nerfed them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lament.
They haven't buffed rockets enough, in my view. Linear fusion rifles haven't been buffed enough.
That's
so
what
we're not using them.
That's a good
No
question.
other grenade launcher is worth using because Anarchy's the best in slot for grenade launchers. So it's been designed that way, and all we're doing is taking it away, and something else will have to replace it. So whatever they're working on, it better be good.
So I finally can read my note. So the breach grenade launchers, so they're actually going to be adjusting them mostly to prevent us from using them in lieu of shotguns, since they're nerfing shotguns.
Oh,
so
that's good.
Yeah, there we go. So they're trying to foresee the balance, but we'll see how much they nerf them.
Yeah, honestly, that's true. Like, I do agree with Snail. I'm sorry, Ness, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. You pretty much use the Anarchy for anything, and we had a similar problem when it came to boss DPS back in the Whisper of the Worm days. You use that for everything, and if it wasn't for them nerfing it, we would have never found the Anarchy. So once they nerf a certain weapon, we find another weapon that we fall in love with. So,
That's true.
you know, one day, depends on how the nerf is that they're thinking about. It doesn't say that they're going to be doing it right away. It seems like they're looking at that in the future. This looks like maybe like a season 15 thing that they're going to be looking at the patch. They're also going to be looking at some exotic primaries too, because man, there's a lot of these guns that I've never even used, man. When's the last time you guys used like exotic hand cannon, like the Lumina, or what's the other one? The one that shoots those 5 things and they blow up. What is that one called? The Malfeasts. When's the last time you guys used the Malfeasts? I mean, seriously, I mean,
about a month ago. I love Malfeasance.
Yeah, but
That's
I mean, can you take that on a raid? Can you? I mean, that's kind of.
Probably. I've never used it on a raid.
Would you sacrifice your Anarchy spot for a Malfeasance? That's what we're talking about, right?
I don't think I was using Anarchy, so now you're gonna be mad at me. I think I was actually I was using Xeno.
Another exotic.
Yeah, I know. Malfeasance is actually a good, if you do it right, it's also good for crowd control. But it's most effective when we have the meatball in Gambit. That actually knocks down the meatball pretty well.
Yeah, well, those are the changes that
the problem is that we've nerfed those weapons, haven't we? So Outbreak Perfected was a weapon that was go-to for damage because it did so much extra damage with the nanites. But then we did to rework on pulse rifles, and that ruined that. And I think of all the other reworks we've done on various weapon archetypes, and the exotic in those slots has suffered.
Yeah.
True.
That's it. And this is like an ongoing thing. So this is something that Bungie, things that they're looking at in the distant future, right? We can go into that aspect, is that they want to look at special weapons. They want to look at all these weapons, and they want to make sure everything's balanced. It's harder saying it than doing it, I believe. I mean, doing it and saying it, because whenever you say you want to bring something down, something else is going to come up. The community finds a way to work their magic. Whenever Bungie brings certain weapons down, other weapons come back up. We've gone through so many metas throughout the Destiny's careers: scout rifles, pulse rifles, sidearms, sniper rifles, shotguns. Looks like it's next one up. It's a constant cycle. It's like one of the things that they're never going to find is balance, but they need to do balance because that's the way the game flows. It's the fact that the game is divided between PvP and PvE. And as much as fun as PvE is, I mean, you do want to have a little challenge. You do want to try different weapons. Now, this Snail says Sleeper Simulant. I want to know what kind of damage that thing does in a raid boss. I want to see the damage numbers. You know, I'm kind of curious. Do some testing. Anarchy is just, you're just going to sit there and just shoot it. And you know, you can walk away, like Snail says, and everything around it is going to die, you know? But
you can build a spider's web.
Build a spider's web. That's Can you build a spider web with any other weapon? With the Sleeper Simulant? I don't think so. You can't do that. Well, Chris continues about the stuff that's going to happen in this mid-season update patch. So this they don't expect to do this kind of changes every season or in the middle of every season. They're just kind of going through the motions of how this is going to work out. So we're pretty much going to be helping them test out this changes that's going to be happening. Changes to the shotguns, changes to the the hand cannons, changes to Anarchy, things like that they do do bring out, we're going to be the ones kind of working on that and helping them find a balance for that. So not any other game that I can think of does that for their player base, which is kind of cool, I think. So they're working really hard, and their efforts are definitely showing, which is awesome. Some of the other patch notes that we're going to be reviewing, there's going to be some things, bug fixes that's going on, and this is certain areas. We have expunge, strikes, momentum control, and gameplay. So under the expunge, the mission sticks. These are the things that they're fixed. So they fixed an issue where the Constrider platform over the boss would fail to have collision in certain circumstances. So whenever you get in there, that gives you the buff, right, Snell, where you're able to kill the little cubes. Is that what it is? Is that the stuff that they're?
You know, when you turn on the thing, you can stand on the green platforms.
Mm-hmm.
The one platform above the boss where you can take the ball to, you can't land on it. You fall through it each time. There's a couple of flat platforms that do that throughout the encounters and different ones, which they mention here.
And that's only on sticks, right? That's the only way.
No, it's on Tartarus as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like you said, started. So they fixed an issue, same thing with the Constrider platform would fail to have the collision in certain circumstances. Also, they fixed an issue where defeating the boss before the second immunity phase would block mission completion. Never had an issue with that unless you guys came across that. So
me and Silly did one the other day where we did too much damage and I had to jump out of the map to get it to proceed. Oh. It's a good job I know how to get around issues. Of the
map. You know what? It's because of you that they're fixing these issues, man. Jesus. On strikes, the inverted spire, which a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, that's going to be the Grandmaster Nightfall. So this is something that they fixed, which is welcome. So they fixed an issue where players who died in the drill area could have their ghost appear far back in the strike. The ghost now appears at a set safe locations in the drill area. Boy, was that going to suck. I got extremely scared now whenever we did the Grandmaster Nightfall and Rob died on that deep part, and we assumed he was going to be way up there. I guess Bungie's finding out these little things, and they want to put you into situations where you can be revived, because if that was going to be an issue for a Grandmaster, can you imagine? People are going to lose their heads. Momentum control, decreased trace rifle damage and momentum control. So this is a note that the Dave noticed. So while we know that trace rifles are too hot, we're also aware that some players are greatly enjoying laser tag. This is kind of like a concept that started a long time ago whenever there was a problem with the Prometheus lens, I believe, where it was a one-shot kill. It was crazy. It was back in the Curse of Osiris days. So people have been telling Bungie and bugging Bungie, you should make a laser tag mode. Like, seriously, can you imagine a bunch of trace rifles just shooting people? I mean, we have Scorch, and that's annoying. Laser rifles, that'll be fun. So that continues. So with that in mind, we're starting out with a small change to see how it feels before taking another pass. So from us talking about it, they might be looking at it, something to happen. All right, some gameplay fixes, guys. They're going to fix an issue which slot duration from Withering Blade did not increase with Whisper Durance Fragment equipped. Fix an issue with Stormcaller Warlocks were unable to use Iconic Blink while slowed with Stasis. That's some of the things that they brought out in previous patch notes, previous known issues. So now that's fixed. Fix an issue in which Diamond Lands could be generated by throwing a glacier grenade into a pile of Telesto projectiles. Why is it Telesto every time?
Telesto. Brilliant.
Why is it Telesto breaks the game every time? Well, that's fixed now. You can no longer do that. Fixed a few bugs in which abilities were not properly costing Sentinel Shield energy when guarding, such as Celestial Fire, Withering Blade, Shiver Strike, Glacial Quake, Silence of Squall. So these are all the things, patch notes, that they fixed. There's other stuff that they're looking at, other stuff that they're fixing. For those check out the bungie.net for the full list. And these are some of the things that are going to go live on Tuesday. These are the patch notes we're going to be looking at. I believe it's update 3.2.1. Can you give us a little bit of information on that, Ness, for us?
Well, that's happening on Tuesday, July 6th. Maintenance is going to begin at 9 a.m. Pacific time. 9:45, all players are going to be removed from whatever activities they are on Destiny and brought offline. At 10 a.m., the update will be available across all platforms and regions, and players will be able to log back in. At 11 a.m., the Destiny 2 maintenance is expected to conclude. So below are some issues that this update's actually going to fix. So issues with the PlayStation consoles receiving a persistent beagle error. Poor beagles. Assassin's Cowl no longer clips through a majority of hunters' cloaks. I don't play a hunter, so I'm not sure what that is. Gunsmith weapons will no longer be missing masterwork slots. I've noticed that one. Armor with glows will properly display their glows when transmogged over another armor set that also has glows. So that is everything that this 3.2.1 patch is going to be fixing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. There's also going to be a few things, little changes to the Bungie store. I know Snail brought them last week. He was excited. How about we're going to be getting a Bungie
They're
store?
making changes that are not going to happen. Ooh. So the Bungie store got beagled and will now not be updating as suggested on July the 1st.
That's hilarious.
Unfortunately, due to beagles taking over the store, it's going to be delayed a month. Apparently, baboons the next encounter that they're going to face in order to get it launched. Back to you, Vega.
That's so
Thank you.
sad.
That's hilarious. Well, there's just remember Solstice of Heroes for 2021. It's going to happen on July 6th, and it's going to go all the way till August. What was the thing I'm looking for here? I believe it was August 20 something, or what is it again? Let me look over here.
What's that? August
August
3rd?
3rd.
July to August the 3rd.
Yeah, August 3rd. I
3rd.
believe the season ends August 23rd, I believe. Something to look forward to. So, just a quick update for that. This is a free for everybody. I don't know if you guys know this. It's free for everybody. The only thing Bungie wants you to know is whenever you start your light quest or you're a new player, make sure you get out of the Cosmodrome and you unlock the tower. The moment you unlock the tower, you're able to go talk to Eva, and you're able to get those armor pieces that you can upgrade. So if you have any more concerns, any more information, make sure you look at the list of known issues, and it's going to be updated for the Solstice of Heroes guide as well. Speaking of known issues, Ness, take it away.
There's nothing on the colorblind. Sorry, Snail. Players who die at the same time of defeating the boss at Expunge respawn outside the boss area, so they've been unable to claim their rewards. Crucible weekly challenges may not be gaining progress. And then there's a couple of things as far as the Hunter Vest. The Insight Rover is not showing a texture thing. Emblems are appearing off-center when inspecting players while using an ultra-wide monitor. So these are only the 4 that they've listed, but there are definitely more if you want to review the known issues article on Bungie. There might be something on there about the colorblind community.
Probably is.
Sure. I'm sure there is. It's always a problem.
Yeah.
There's always a problem with the game, and I'm sure Bungie is looking forward to fixing it. That's their goal. That's their plan. They're always there to help us out. Well, that's pretty much the 12, guys. Things that we look forward to is Solstice of Heroes coming in next week. Hard mode of Vault of Glass. So our goal is to get as many pinnacles as possible and do as many bounties, get as much XP as possible so you can reach as close as you can. You have to be 1350. I believe from us talking, our clan, we're probably going to go in there maybe 1340. See if we can get everybody. If we get everybody on that line, we should be okay. But keep grinding, guys. It's always a grind when it comes to Destiny. But hopefully the Solstice of Heroes helps to get those pinnacles and extra XP, more bounties, more things for us to do. With that, I think we're gonna pass it on to Snail. Hopefully Snail is okay. Snail, are you alive? Can you tell us a little bit about the lore corner we're gonna be talking about this week?
Yes. I think I feel the same as Courier felt, because it was
Why?
it was
Why
2
do you feel
Anakids
that way?
and
So
2
dramatic.
Jesus beams.
So the thing that you fear the
they
most
obviously had,
last season or last week, the thing you feared the most last week is what happened, right? Is that what you tell me?
Is what happened. Yeah.
Wow.
So this week's story, yes, folks, we apparently killed Courier. Although I have some questions over what happened, because the story that came out was that the sky lightened and everything's well in the tower. Although currently they're still taking balls everywhere,
That's
and we're
true.
still in darkness.
We're
And
supposed to
Korea's
ignore
dead,
this.
but I have to question why the Dreaming City still has a curse. But hey, I'm sure we'll find out what's going on at some point. But this week's story covers really a walk that Lakshmi is doing, and she was conspicuous by her absence in all the missions this week. No voice line of her as we were going through. Lots of excitement from our various friends. Anasaris, who was very peculiar, kept talking about underestimating us, and he won't do it again.
Yeah.
We're on your side.
Why
Maybe.
underestimate us?
Why are
I
you
know.
underestimating us? We've killed gods before. I'm confused. Anyway, so it's Lakshmi's point of view, telling what she's seeing as she's walking through the celebrations of Korea going. And we mention again children. In every bit of story, we mention children. I'm wondering if this is foreseeing the fact that we are going to a world of, we'll have Elixni and mankind together with the light, and this is the children foreseeing that. That's why they're always playing with each other and always jolly.
Excellent.
Happy. But there was loads of interesting bits of information from this week's story, and it starts with her talking about a bright new day, and as she's thinking this information, Osiris arrives and repeats the exact line back to her. And this happens a couple of times within this week's story, that he repeats and she repeats lines back to themselves. And it transpires, I feel, that she's seen these events already and already knows what Osiris is up to, because she is talking about the fact that this is the predictable event that we see each time we have this interaction, which is really interesting, that she's seen multiple encounters with the same conversation as she's been going through with Osiris, and even talking about the darkness and the choice of words that Osiris is using. So she's obviously seen Osiris multiple times and what's going on with Osiris. So we'll watch that with bated breath. We're going to assume that he is not who he says he is, maybe. Although Ava Levante is coming back, so that is where Savathun usually is hiding with masks.
She is Savathun.
What we said.
She is Savathun.
Yeah. And there was a really interesting line about we're still within the standard deviation. So that's interesting. It is like the Matrix, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's seen it all. But there's a great interaction with Osiris and her walking through the tower, and ending with her talking about that this is the flash of lightning before the storm, and she's seeing more and more to come. And that's basically all the story was this week, with Osiris being mainly sus for a number of things. But yeah, I was confused why she wasn't in parts of the story this week. But we did see her in the helm, and then in the helm she mentioned how pleased she was, and it also mentioned that she was wrong and could admit she was wrong, where other people can't admit they're wrong, which I thought was an interesting ploy, almost like she's trying to get us on side as a guardian that could support her claims to be the new ruler of the last city. And also, the bit that could confuse me in listening to a conversation, and I had to listen to it a few times, was she says about, we were warned by the Vex not to destroy Courier, which confused me somewhat, because why would the Vex warn against Courier?
Yeah.
Do they know something that, well, they obviously do, because they know all of time.
Yeah.
So was Courier a complete, like the whole story of Thanos, and you can't kill Thanos because Thanos is the god of death in one of the Marvel comics. So when they did kill him, they found that the will went to pot because there was no death. So they had to bring him back from another realm to fix the world. Are we going to find that we need to bring Courier back to bring balance to the Vex?
You never
I don't
know.
That's deep.
You never know. But I've got so many questions about what's going to happen next. But I think now we're going to get a break with Solstice, and we won't hear any more of the story till Solstice is over, which is disappointing because I've got loads of questions. So are we just going to run these missions in the background, repeating the same information until Solstice is over? I guess that's kind of what we're going to see. But watch this space. I'll cover bits as I see it.
Yeah.
I think you'll be right, because it's pretty funny how the TWAP starts off with, we killed Kyria. We killed her.
Kyria.
The darkness is done. Like you said, the blights are all over the tower. Everything's still gloomy. And I like the fact that Saint 14 is
changed.
like, Saint 14 is like, yeah, this is the time for celebration, Solstice of Heroes. And everybody's like, well, hold on. Question. What about everything back here? Are we going to ignore all this?
Should we be concerned?
So my question
not.
is the tower going to be all decked out, Solstice of Heroes, while those taking lights are there? Or are they going to
Well, the
disappear?
footage of the tower shows them gone.
Yeah, they'll remove them, definitely.
So they'll come back.
And we
for the
didn't get
last
that
2
final
weeks of the
story
season.
piece that we were talking about last week as well, Vega. That we said that the two stories were tied together.
Yes, I remember.
And the last piece was going to fall at the same time. It didn't fall, which suggests there's more of the story to come.
Okay, that does make
Nice.
sense. Maybe we have to do something in the Solstice of Heroes. Please change it up, Bungie. We have to do something in there that's going
Interestingly,
to help us out.
Just on the subject of more stuff, currently, if you go into the Elixir Quarter, the old raid, you can see fallen data pads, which have appeared in locations. And apparently, if you glitch out the map, there is Oracle.
Yeah.
Oracle in the city, in that area?
Old zone,
Interesting.
which is interesting.
To find oracles there. That's very interesting.
That's going to turn into something, I would think.
Yeah, and we have got another expunge mission that is set in the city, isn't we? So is it set in that old raid?
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
That's cool.
Just to kind of reminisce about the mission, that Kira mission. It was okay. I like all the things you had to do to get through it. The beginning was just as normal as ever. You just do your basic jumping puzzles and get to the mission. But yeah, I think the dynamic was good. In order to damage her, you had to kind of kill various bosses. I believe Rob and Jay was like, hey, it's similar to the ones you've killed before. So you kind of have an idea. The mission itself was cool, but two Jesus Beam and a couple of anarchies took care of business, It's like it left us wanting more. Like it did. And then that's one of the things we were afraid of, that Kyria wasn't going to get her deserved moment in the game. And like you said, you never know, is she really dead, or it really dead? I mean, are we gonna have to bring it back? Is her taken form gone and we have to go to we talked about like Oryx, and he had like the realm and stuff like that.
Yeah, taking realm, yeah. So,
kind of interesting. It's leaving us with more questions, like Snell says. My question is, before we wrap this up, does Lashmi know that Osiris is on the tune? Does she know that Osiris is? She has to know, right?
Well, because she already said it was one of the Guardians, one of the Vanguard. So she obviously knows who it is, and that's why this interaction with Osiris is so interesting.
So she's keeping quiet. She's using it, trying to use it for her way. And I'm sure Osiris, aka Sabathun, knows that she knows, right? I'm assuming.
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't know? Okay.
No. But he doesn't know the future, does he?
No, he doesn't. Well, she knows probabilities of the future, and she chooses which one meets her criteria, right? As far as I know.
Well, actually knows versions of the future.
Versions, yeah.
But no, Sabathun does not know any of the future. Is why Courier was so vital, because Courier, being a taken Vex, could see different time constructs.
So killing Kyria did put kind of like a little problem into Sabathun's plan, maybe. We're apparently being underestimated. That's one of the things we got out of that. So
apparently,
that's it. Well, that's it, guys. Episode 37. Snail, thank you so much for hanging out. I know you're not feeling yourself. You're no longer a snail. You're a spider to this day. Spider snail.
Hope you feel better.
I know. Ness, thank you so much for being here, guys. That's episode 37. We're going to be coming back next week, episode 38. We're ever so close to our 50th episode. That's a pretty milestone. 50 weeks, 52 weeks. That's a year, man. That's a year under
Yeah.
the belt. That's gonna be pretty. I'm gonna be pretty proud of that. So episode 38 next week, same bat channel, same bat time. With that, guys, we're gonna close out the episode. My name is Vega. My gamer tag is Vega6417. Feel free to add me in Xbox Live. Happy news, actually. I have a brand new Xbox right behind me. My wife was kind enough to drop it off with
Yay.
me. I was able to get the new Xbox. I'm pretty excited. I would like to share that with you guys. I know it's going to take me 7.6 years to upload and update and get everything that I need to put in this big machinery. And I was able to get the refrigerator, the big one.
Nice.
A lot of patience and a lot of overbidding and trying to get things. I didn't pay any $1 over retail, but I got lucky. And then my wife never listens to the episodes, but thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate it. So hopefully if I do that, she might listen to one. Yes, find me online. You can also find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Jasubia, so you can just search Vega6417. You can find me on Twitch TV /Triple Vega. And I'm also on Instagram under Triple Vega as well. All right, Ness.
All right. Well, my name is Liness1 on Xbox Live and Twitch. Please follow if you'd like. I also have an Instagram, AlexisV1. And then I also run the Genuine Apathy Instagram, genuine_apathy. I stream every other Wednesday. So yeah, so please, join, get into the chat. If you need some help, let me know. Snaily Snail.
Well, Snelly Snail 2268. I am on various platforms, but just look at me on Xbox. If you need any help for anything, that's me.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Well, that's the episode. We will see you guys next week. Eyes up, Guardians, and always remember,
When in Rome.
when in Rome, and
The cats and the pigeons.
Cats and the pigeons,
All right.
guys.